Crafters. Today I'm working with some Lavinia products, a nice fairy stamp sitting on her little perch, and also I have out these acetate circle masks from Lavinia. So in one package they give you a few different sizes, and they give you this outside stencil, plus they give you the centerpieces, so you can use those as a mask. So I really like that, and their stencils are really nice and heavy. Just makes them very easy to work with. So I was doing this card on our last Friday's Zoom, and it goes so quick, I thought, well, I'll do some more. And now that my video editing program is working again, or at least limping along, I can share it with you, which I'm happy about that. So I'm just... Normally when I use a stencil, I would use pixie spray on the back to get it to hold down, but this is just a very plain open design, so I think I can just hold it still. I've had luck with that. And I'm going to start with my blue ink, and I just want to make this circle into a focal point for my fairy to sit in. This is just a very plain, very simple card. Nice and quick and easy. So in case you haven't used one of these ink applicators before, the first time you set it down, you tend to get a little circle of ink showing up. So to avoid that, I first set it down actually on my stencil, and then I just lightly work it over onto the paper. And that helps to avoid getting any of the outline from your sponge showing up on your paper. And also, if you want your ink to be darker, I avoid trying to press the ink in there, because then it doesn't give you that nice soft blended edge. So I just go lightly, and if I want to build it up darker, I just add another layer of ink. So you can see where I keep adding, it's much darker there than it is, say, over here. So that's just by loading up your ink over and over, doing some light layers. And I'm going to do some in the center here too. So I do want it lighter in the center, but I do want some color on there. And I'll just add it wherever I feel like I need some more there. And then we'll call it done. I do want to add on another color just to give it a little bit of interest. Well, what did I do here? I used my sponge in the wrong color. Okay, so we'll have a little bit of a blended color here. I meant to use this sponge with my evergreen bow. And I guess I could wipe it a little bit off on scrap paper, but we'll just have a blended color. Okay, so I see now that my stencil has shifted a little bit here, so I just need to line that back up again. There we go. And I'm just going to add this second color down one edge, which is actually going to turn out to be the bottom of my stencil, but I find it easier to work this way than to work that way. It just doesn't suit my wrist as well. So always turn your project to whatever works for you. So this is where a little bit darker. I think it's just going to give my fairy a little bit of ground here. There we go. And then when you take that off, you got this nice perfect circle to work with. Really happy with how that turns out. And then I want to stamp my fairy, so I've got my stamp in a stamp platform. Just tuck that right into the corner, and my fairy is not lined up, so just gonna have her in about the center there, and that circle will, oh, I hope I didn't have too much ink on there since I moved it. We'll find out. No, we're good. And then for the black ink, I'm just using this VersaFine, which is a pigment ink, and I'm really been happy with that one, so I've been using that one a lot lately. And then we'll just give it a press. I like to let it sit there just for a bit to let that ink really transfer onto the paper. And then we'll see how well it's stamped. Pretty good. Okay. So there we go. Easy for a card front, and then just put some cardstock behind it. Here's a nice color that matches the inks. Mat it on there, and we got a nice easy card. You can add a sentiment to it. I wanted to actually share with you, when you have a card that's very white and open like this, have you ever gotten an ink smudge or a fingerprint someplace where you didn't want it? Well, let's show you a couple of tips of what you can do when that happens. So I'll do up another one. I'll do up maybe two more. So we'll do it the same way, just putting some ink on here. Now, see if I can't dedicate the right sponge to the right ink pad. Ink that up nice. And see if we can't get that stencil in close to the center anyways. And then we start with it putting down on the stencil and work onto the paper. You can see these go pretty quick actually. A little bit in the center. Put another layer so it gets a little bit darker. And then I'll switch over. Add a little bit of this other color. And take our mask off. I always like that reveal because you get to see this nice clean circle there. And then put the ground on the bottom for the fairy to kind of be, or the plant to be growing out of, I guess. And we'll ink up that stamp again. You can see how quick these are. I made quite a few of these last time we were on our Zoom night on Friday. So just let that ink sit in there a bit. Alrighty, so we, unfortunately, I didn't screw up because I want to show you how to fix it. But there we are with our perfect stamped image. Oh, I see the light is pretty bright in here. So the ink is actually darker on there than what it might appear on camera. So it's nice and clean, no smudges. But you know what happens when you sometimes get, let's put some ink on my finger. So a little bit of ink on my finger. And what happens if you, put a smudge on your cards? Oh, there's not enough ink on my finger. Whoa, that's a lot. Okay, so a little bit of ink on the finger. There's still quite a bit there. And what do you do when you get a fingerprint? So maybe you can see now. Do you see a smudge there? Maybe not. Okay, so we'll make it darker. Now you can see it. So now you see I have a big fingerprint there. And it kind of, would be disappointing to have that happen on your card. So here's something you can do. Is disguise it. Just stamp something black right over it. Like I will take this nice script stamp. I love that. I use it a lot because it's you can't read it, so it's just perfect for background stuff. And I'm gonna ink up, and it's not even a perfect ink job because at this point this is just something I want in the background. I don't want it to really be standing out more than the fairy, I guess you would say. And in order that I don't get ink on my glass mat here and make more of a mess, I'll just put some scrap paper under it. So I'm just going to put some text so that it goes right over that fingerprint. And it may not get rid of it totally, but it certainly won't stand out the way it did when it was all by itself. So there you go, and that's better. Now it's kind of hidden in with your text, and that works for me, and you kind of salvaged your card. Okay, so there's one way. But what happens if, let's do another one. So we'll do this quick because you've already seen this part going. And I do like it with this kind of a different shade going on the bottom. For some reason that appeals to me, so I'll do it again. Okay, so there we have it. So what if, say our stencil shifted, or we accidentally dropped our ink and we ended up with a blob like that. Okay, so it kind of looks like we're going to wreck our image, but surely we could come up with a way to make that work still. So first I'll put the fairy on here. Ink her up. This is a great little card to do if you need to make several all in one sitting. That's what I do. And then if you want to put a greeting on it, you can leave it and wait till whatever occasion you need and put the appropriate greeting. Or just put a greeting on the inside. And actually she didn't stamp up as well or as solid as what I'd like. So we'll ink that up again. Let it sit there for a minute. Alrighty. So, oh, she came nice and solid. So now we have this great image on here, except, can you see this splotch of ink? My lighting is not the best tonight, but there's a square or circle of ink there that doesn't look that great. So here's something else we can do. I think that'll cover it up nicely. Add some more stamping to it. That's one way. And because this is not a black splotch, it's the color of those background inks, I think it would cover up best with some of the colored ink. So we'll just put that on there. This is one of the colors that we used in the background, the evergreen bow. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. And you could stop there actually, because that covers up that ink, but I think I'll keep going. I'm just stamping these at different heights along here. Might as well go all the way across. So sometimes when you have a little whoops, and it makes you kind of go a different direction than you might have planned, but you know, sometimes that direction can be kind of a cool thing too. There you go. So now our ink blotch isn't really a problem anymore. So I hope that gives you some ideas. If you happen to get some fingerprints, now I've got, see all these inky fingers, and sometimes you touch it and it gets on there, but you can always ink up your edges. If you happen to get it smudged on a little bit much, you can go this way, add some on your edges, That can hide a little bit too, or even just make it look nice. Finish off an edge. If your smudge happened to be up higher, you could have vines hanging down just a little bit off the top, or put a gem over it. Sometimes that works too. Just put a nice little diamond or something on there, a sequin. Lots of ways to cover up whoops. So I hope that inspires you to save some of your projects from ending up in the garbage and just make use of even portions of them if you can salvage something from it. And there you go. So there's our two little designs. They just need some backing on them. And where's our other one? Here's the other one. That's what I was looking for. So even though this is what I originally went for, some of these are kind of nice too. So it might even give you some ideas. Oh, I know what I want to put on here. This stuff here, sheer shimmer. Except, okay, I know that's going to make a mess. I should have a cardboard box, which I don't have handy here, but I'm just going to put down some paper towel. I'm glad that's not attached there yet. So I want to give these a spritz of shimmer. Now, shimmer doesn't usually show up on camera, so I don't think that's going to show up for us, but we'll see. So this is Sheer Shimmer Craft Spray by Imagine. And just a light spritz, and it just makes your whole card sparkle. Not super sparkle, like as if it's covered with glitter, which would actually be pretty cool too. But it just gives this shimmery sheen on here that I don't know that the camera will pick up. So you just might have to pop into our store, or the next time you do, pop in and take a look at these a little closer up so you can see what kind of a shimmer. You definitely see it in person. Happy crafting!